I'm AC.
And I'm Rob.
Welcome to Bit Seizure.
Today, we're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah, Power Rangers. Son of a...
Today, we're going to be taking a look at the 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Now, the first game we're going to play today is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It's known for its alarming difficulty.
The second game we're going to look at is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. This is obviously the Nintendo port of the very popular arcade classic beat 'em up.
The third game we're going to play is actually Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project. Now, I have the Famicom cartridge because the original Turtles 3 was never actually released in Australia, and the American version was too expensive to import. It's called Turtles 2 because the original one was never released for the Famicom in Japan.
Now, so without any further ado, let's take a look at the games.
Here is the first game, originally released in 1989 by Konami, often called Palcom in the PAL regions such as Europe and Australia. Now, we've got a little title screen here introducing the Turtles. Leonardo is a good all-rounder character. He's got long weapons and, average speed.
Raphael has like a pretty short range weapon, but he's got very quick attacks. Pretty similar to Michelangelo, fairly short range weapon, but good speed on those attacks.
And he looks pretty awesome in the intro here, but he's pretty useless in the game.
Yeah.
And of course, the best all-rounder is Don, a bit slow, but the best range weapon.
He has a really long range, so it's good to try and save Donatello for really difficult parts in the game.
And this intro sequence is really good. And there's Rat Boy, or Splinter. What's he pointing to? Oh no! April's been kidnapped again.
She has a propensity for getting kidnapped in these games, as you'll find out.
Well, let's give it a go. Push start here.
And the first screen you see in the game is this sort of overhead view. The game sort of switches between this sort of screen and the side-scrolling section.
But you can die in the overhead view. So you've got to be pretty careful because that kind of steamroller thing will just kill you in one shot. Now you can switch between the turtles here, which is good. With extra pizza, you can get extra lives.
Yeah, so I guess once your turtle gets hurt, you switch to another turtle and look for pizza, and then switch back to the hurt guy and give him the pizza,
We've got mouses there and some kind of bugs.
It's a bit of a weird variety of enemies in this game, but there are lots of them. So that's a plus, I guess. Although I've never seen half of them in the actual cartoon.
It's faithful to some extent.
Yeah.
Our first boss fight here is with Bebop. He's pretty easy, mainly because he runs into a corner.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of stab him in the back. There he goes. Now just ninja style.
That's definitely what a hero turtle would do.
And then Rocksteady takes off with April. And the next level here, a little bit later on in the game, is the dam level. Now, this is infamous.
Yeah, it's quite difficult. This is probably the bottleneck in the game where a lot of people's Ninja Turtles adventures would end. It's hard to get past this stage for a number of reasons.
So what I've done here is I've actually doubled the speed just so I can show you how much effort you have to put into it. There's also a bit of a current that kind of drags you off to the left. There's killer seaweed.
It's like electric, I don't know what you call those things. It's like electric currents sort of through the water that make it difficult to pass through.
And you've got a time limit too. So you've got to defuse 8 bombs, you've got a time limit, and there's killer seaweed.
Yeah, and it's very maze-like level construction. It's easy to miss one of the bombs, and then you get to the end of the stage and realise that you haven't got them all, and you have to go back and then look for another one. It's a real pain in the butt.
The good thing about this is, though, that even though if one of your turtles dies or gets captured, which is what happens when you die, the bombs are still defused, so you don't have to go do it again.
Yeah, so there's some leniency there, but it's definitely the hardest part in the game.
Back to normal speed, we're going to switch to another turtle here.
This is the hardest screen in the whole game.
Yeah.
You can see it's just covered in that killer seaweed.
And we're dead. On to the next game. He got caught. Not died, he got caught.
Next we have Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, which was originally released in 1990 for the NES. The original arcade game had up to 4 players, but in the NES version you can have 2 players.
And the original arcade was very awesome, I have to say. It was such a great game.
Yeah, really one of the best of its generation, and everyone our age probably had a bash at it at some point.
And this is a pretty good port, I gotta say. Like, these graphics are pretty solid for an 8-bit game.
Yeah.
Mikey falls on his ass there.
It definitely tries to mirror the arcade game as much as possible. So the level sequence is the same. The first level being this sort of building on fire with April being kidnapped.
She's always been kidnapped. But there is actually an extra level in this game. It's a snow level where you've got some kind of mutant dog wolf thing at the end.
Right, so it is actually a little bit sort of enhanced compared to the arcade game in some ways.
Yeah, in some ways.
You can see here that there's 8-bit doesn't really hold up too well. The characters kind of flash a lot when they're on screen, which is
one of them's disappeared here completely.
Yeah, it's a limitation of the NES compared to the arcade. But for the most part, this is a really good and fun Ninja Turtles game.
We got the first boss here, which is Rocksteady.
And he does have a bit of a pattern. He does certain moves in sequence, but we're not really that concerned with fighting in any kind of clever or strategic way.
Yeah, we're button mashers, basically. So we've got April in the background here, who's just kind of crying and not helpful, which is kind of weird because in the cartoon she's, quite plucky and go-getty. So.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change. She's kind of useless in these games. It's a shame to see that.
I suppose you need a plot of some sort. And as all good video game bosses, he starts blinking when you've almost killed him. He looks pretty good, except he has no colour, which I suppose he doesn't anyway, but it seems a little bit noticeable.
Yeah, black and white. It just doesn't look that great. Hey, they're trying.
Got him.
It looks like we've won, but oh wait, who's this? It's Shredder, and he's taking April, and she's been kidnapped twice in 5 minutes, and he's flipping off the turtles on the way down.
He's kicking them the bird. That's pretty awesome.
Okay, on to the second level, which is, I guess, your typical beat-em-up, mean streets of New York level. There's manhole covers with ninjas jumping out of them.
Now, there's not a lot of variety with the enemies. There's basically foot soldiers and different coloured foot soldiers. So you've got blue, purple, yellow, and, well, these guys seem to be studying from the abridged book of ninja fighting.
They're not doing the best job of standing up to the turtles here.
No. It's kind of cool how they interact with the background, though. They'll come through windows and everything.
Jump out of doors and manhole covers, and there's a bit of variety in the way they appear on the screen. And of course, it's nice to see recognisable enemies from the cartoon, unlike the first game, which just has like weird glowing men and fire echidnas and stuff that you've just never seen before at all. And here's Shredder on the TV. He loves to take over TVs.
He loves being on TV. And you've got a bit of product placement.
Yeah, Pizza Hut must have had some kind of weird under-the-table deal with the makers of this game.
In the original American manual, there were actually coupons for Pizza Hut. Not only that, there was no expiration date, so, possibly you could still redeem them now, I guess.
Interesting to try and get a Pizza Hut to honour an old coupon from the 1990s.
20-year-old game.
Yeah.
And now Rob's dead at this point, and it's just me versus B-Bob, and I'm about to die.
So all up, I think this is a pretty fun game. It holds up pretty well. It's difficult, but there's a lot of replay value here.
Yeah, I have to say, very solid port. Excellent game. The last game we have for you is Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. We've got a really awesome title sequence here based off the cartoon. Seizure-inducing, as it is. Now, this game is interesting in the fact that it is a direct sequel to the NES arcade game, but there is no arcade equivalent of this. It is a standalone NES title.
We'll just choose the two-player mode here. As per the other game, there are 4 turtles to choose from, but you can only have a maximum of 2 players. We're going to choose Raph rather than Leonardo as usual, just to spice things up a little bit for you.
We got the brilliant kind of out loud and proud turtles having a holiday. They're not very ninja-like on the beach, are they?
No, they're not really making any efforts to conceal themselves. There's no trench coats or hats like there are in the film, so I don't know what's happening there.
There's a lovely April O'Neil reporting live from Manhattan, I'm sure, and, this is going to go fine. It's a bit of a boring, bad reception.
Bad reception on the beach. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's no... Oh, God! He's back!
Oh, this guy loves being on TV.
He's a bit of a media whore.
He really is.
And this time he's kidnapped the whole Manhattan Island.
Yeah, not just satisfied with kidnapping April O'Neil. He's going to kidnap the whole island.
Oh, he's kidnapped April as well. You would have thought that, kidnapping all of Manhattan and April would go hand in hand. But no, he's gone for the double there.
Yeah, this is the worst kidnapping he's ever perpetrated. So the turtles are suitably pissed. And it's time for stage 1, which takes place on, I guess, the Florida Keys beach.
Now, as you can see, the sprites look pretty good. They're a little bit updated from the last game. You've still got that kind of blinking problem, though, once again.
Yeah, it does get a bit distracting. Just a limitation of the NES once more.
But it does look good.
It does really look good.
Now, if you press down and attack, you will flip enemies over your head. This is the end of the stage here.
Yeah, there's a problem with the pier surface here. It's obviously poorly constructed. It's a real insurance claim waiting to happen, I think.
Now, there isn't a lot of variety with the enemies again, I have to say. It's just kind of different coloured. The great thing is, though, when you die, you can switch between your turtles, so you can come back as any of the turtles you want. And when they fall down, they say, eh? Which is Japanese there. We're playing the Japanese game because there is no game released in Australia for this.
As far as we can tell, anyway.
Now we've got the first boss, which is Rocksteady.
Again, he's kind of tough to fight. We're just going to skip most of the fight because it's not the most exciting thing to see.
No.
And on to stage 2, which actually, when you get a look at this stage, it's pretty reminiscent of the stage from the Turtles in Time. I think the Turtles in Time game basically was inspired by this stage, perhaps.
Or maybe that came first and this inspired that.
Yeah, I don't know which one came first, the chicken or the Turtles in Time. But yeah, surfboard level, and the Foot Clan are surprisingly proficient with surfing too. So I guess it's all very hip and
Too
cool.
much time with the surfing, not enough time with the killing the turtles. And that is magnificent.
Look at this beautiful synchronized swimming.
That is Olympic level synchronized swimming there by the Foot Clan.
Just
I kind of want them to win.
So do I. Look at this. This is a kind of interesting demonstration of how there's a bit of variety. The Foot Clan soldiers on this particular stage throw knives and shurikens and things at you, so there's a bit more variety than the arcade game version.
Yeah, all the end-of-level bosses are from the arcade, other than Toko and Razor, who are from the second movie. This guy, I can't quite remember. I think he's some kind of bull, but he is from the cartoon series, apparently.
I can't remember this guy very well, but anyway, we'll skip the boss fight again, and just to save you the strife.
Now, this game, I have to say, is really good. It's probably one of the best beat-em-ups you can possibly get for the NES.
Yeah, and other than the Turtles in Time game on SNES, this is probably the second best, Ninja Turtles game that you can find.
Certainly.
Really.
So far better than the original one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like how Shredder's got all this technology, but he can't kill 4 turtles and a rat in the sewers.
Yeah, he's really pretty impotent. And there you have it. I think you can agree with me, AC. These games are pretty varying quality.
Yeah.
The first game's really painful to play, but it does have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles branding, and that was probably enough for most people back in the day.
The second and third games are also pretty good, but because they were on an 8-bit system, there was quite a lot of blinking and a bit of slowdown there. The best beat-em-up game for Turtles is actually on the SNES, which we're going to get to another time.
Yeah, I'll look for that down the track. Oh, and keep a lookout for our bonus video, where we're going to be talking about some Ninja Turtles memories.
And I'm going to be showing you how to make some delicious TMNT cocktails. Thank you very much for watching. I'm AC.
And I'm Rob.